All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we are unraveling an absolute corporate earthquake. We're looking at the sudden, genuinely shocking exit of N. Chandrasekaran, the chairman of Tata Sons. This is a story that kicks off behind the closed doors of a high-stakes boardroom dispute in Mumbai, but its shockwaves stretch all the way out to futuristic global gigafactories. We're going to unpack exactly what happened here, why it matters, and how this intense clash over the future of a $165 billion empire is actually going to impact industries all around the world. So, this brings us to the core mystery of the whole situation. Why did the leader of India's biggest conglomerate just choose to walk away? I mean, Chandrasekaran oversaw an absolutely incredible era of growth. Under his nearly 10-year watch, group revenues more than doubled to over 16 lakh crore rupees, and their market capitalization just skyrocketed. He successfully navigated the group out of the very messy Cyrus Mystry era, brought Air India back into the fold, and launched some massive, game-changing bets on the future. And yet, literally right before his term renewal, he decided not to seek reappointment. Okay, let's dive into this. A 6-month standoff completely paralyzed the leadership of this massive empire. Back in September 2025, everything seemed perfectly fine. The two principal Tata trusts unanimously backed a 5-year extension for Chandrasekaran. But by a crucial board meeting in February 2026, the mood had totally shifted. Noel Tata, the new chairman of Tata Trusts, actually withheld the unanimous backing required to support the reappointment. So Chandrasekaran deferred the decision. Fast forward to August 2026, with the annual general meeting looming and no resolution in sight, Chandrasekaran officially announced his exit, which takes effect when his current term ends in February 2027. To really grasp what's driving this standoff, we have to look at the two distinct visions battling for the very soul of the company. It essentially comes down to scale versus stability. On one side, you have Noel Tata. His priority is protecting the philanthropic trusts, ensuring really consistent financial dividends to fund charities, and above all, keeping the holding company, Tata Sons, private. On the flip side, you have N. Chandrasekaran, whose entire vision is defined by aggressive tech expansion, rapid modernization, and making these massive capital-intensive bets to ensure Tata leads the next century. Now, you might be wondering why Noel Tata's vision carries so much weight. Well, the answer is 66.4%. That is the overwhelming majority stake that the philanthropic Tata Trusts hold in Tata Sons. This ownership structure gives Noel Tata and the trustees incredible leverage. I mean, they essentially hold the purse strings and the veto power. When they demand financial stability and reliable charity dividends, the Tata Sons board literally has to listen. Part 1. The mandatory IPO battle. You see, the internal rift over strategy is really only half the story. There's this huge external pressure cooker at play here too. The Reserve Bank of India, or RBI, classified Tata Sons as an NBFC-UL, which stands for Upper Layer Non-Banking Financial Company. Now, this classification acts like a ticking clock. According to RBI rules, private sector entities placed on this upper layer list are strictly required to list on public stock exchanges within 3 years. So for Tata Sons, that meant a mandatory IPO by September 2025. Tata desperately tried to escape this IPO mandate, and for good reason. A public listing could seriously dilute the trust's control and fundamentally alter the historic, philanthropic character of the whole Tata Group. To avoid this, Tata Sons proactively paid off all of its debt by March 2024 and applied to just surrender its NBFC registration entirely. But the RBI held firm. No exceptions. They retained Tata Sons on the upper layer list, simply stating that the deregistration application was still under examination. And adding a massive complicating factor to this whole deadlock is another key number, 18.37%. This is the stake owned by the Shapoorji Pallonji Group. Now, unlike the Tata Trusts, the SP Group actively wants the IPO. They really need the liquidity to reduce their own debt. So Chandrasekaran was completely trapped. He had Noel Tata demanding the company stay private, the RBI demanding a public listing, and a major minority shareholder demanding an exit mechanism. It's a massive regulatory and structural knot that is still untied. Part 2. Massive bets in chips and batteries. Now, what's really interesting about this data is that to understand why the trusts are so incredibly anxious about their dividends, we have to look at the colossal cash-burning tech projects currently underway. While Chandrasekaran grew dividends massively, from 27,000 crore rupees back in financial year 16 to a staggering 2.7 trillion in FY26, the unlisted new age entities recently bled 32,000 crore rupees in losses. Air India alone accounted for 26,000 crore of that. So while Chandrasekaran generated immense wealth, the unbelievable cash burn of these new ventures deeply, deeply alarmed the trusts. But you can kind of understand why they're burning cash when you consider the breathtaking scale of these next-gen bets. We are talking about a 1.25 lakh crore rupee push into semiconductors. We're talking about a historic order of 570 Boeing and Airbus aircraft just to modernize Air India. And then there's Tata Digital, funding massive e-commerce acquisitions like Big Basket and 1MG, plus huge equity infusions into electric vehicle and battery ventures. These are huge projects that just require immense capital burning during their critical scale-up phases. Let's look at the absolute crown jewel of these future bets, 91,000 crore rupees. That is the staggering investment earmarked for India's very first large-scale semiconductor fabrication plant in the Lair Gujarat, which they are building in partnership with Taiwan's PSMC. This isn't just another factory. It's a bold attempt to establish a sovereign semiconductor ecosystem for India. They are effectively securing the supply chain for the critical technology we literally all rely on every single day. And let's look at how this builds across the country. The Dholera fabrication plant will churn out 50,000 wafers every single month. Meanwhile, over in Jagiroda, Assam, the new assembly and test facility, the OSAT, will handle a staggering 48 million chips a day. This is a complete end-to-end value chain being built totally from scratch. But Tata's ambitions aren't just limited to India. Let's pivot globally over to the UK. 40 gigawatt hours. That is the massive capacity of the upcoming Agratas EV battery plant in Somerset. When this facility finally comes online, it is set to be the largest electric vehicle battery factory in all of Europe. And this brilliantly illustrates just how high the stakes are. This £4 billion Agratas factory even received around £380 million in UK government funding. Opening in 2027, it's designed to entirely secure the future EV supply chain for Jaguar Land Rover, all while creating thousands of local jobs. It's an absolute massive industrial leap for the mobility of tomorrow. Part 3, the high-stakes future. So this brings our narrative completely full circle. These sprawling, futuristic megaprojects are directly threatened by the urgent leadership vacuum sitting right now in Mumbai. Chandrasekaran's parting plea to the board makes this crystal clear. He acknowledged that clarity on leadership is critically important for employees, investors, partners, and other stakeholders. He knows that these trillion-rupee projects, whether it's a chip fab in Dholera or a gigafactory in Somerset, are in vital, delicate execution phases right now. They simply cannot survive prolonged boardroom uncertainty. At the end of the day, a company cannot build a future if it doesn't even know who is driving the car. So what exactly happens next? Well, here are the immediate, monumental hurdles the conglomerate has to clear before Chandrasekaran's term officially ends in February 2027. Step 1. Tata Trusts, reportedly led by Noel Tata, must rapidly find a successor who can somehow balance these fiercely competing interests. Step 2. They have to navigate the RBI's ticking clock on that mandatory IPO listing. And Step 3. They absolutely must figure out how to manage the intense cash burn of these global megafactories without further alarming the philanthropic trusts. I'll leave you with this final provocative thought. Will the next chairman of Tata Sons be a champion of scale, continuing this aggressive trillion-rupee global expansion? Or will they be a champion of stability, pulling back from the brink, cutting their losses, and retreating to financial consolidation? The unresolved clash between these two philosophies won't just decide the ultimate fate of the Tata empire. It's going to shape the entire future of India's tech and manufacturing landscape. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the world around you.